I do apologise in advance if you can hear my cat in the background. He's cleaning himself and he might also start snoring at some point. So that's what we're working with today. Hi, my name is Bam and welcome back to my channel. Today is a new type of video that I've been like contemplating doing because I've recently gotten back into journaling content and I've been journaling for a while. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm normally a bookish kind of person and I've recently moved home from university, so I'm kind of trying to pick up my content and like do a bit more with my channel now that I have a bit more free time. And last month I did an October reset where I talked about how I wasn't going to be filming the setups of my reading journal, which is this one at the moment. I will talk about that in a bit, because of how much of like a task it started to feel like it was. But I've been thinking a lot about kind of what sort of content I want to add to my channel now that I'm not really doing vlogs outside of reading vlogs, and I kind of wanted to tap into my hobby, my journaling hobby, because I have been watching a ton of journaling content recently, and I've started kind of doing it a lot more regularly than I was when I was at uni, at least the tail end of when I was at uni. And so I kind of wanted to film this video, which is basically just an introduction to all of my journals that you may or may not see in your time here at my channel, and kind of talk about what each of them are, what their purposes are, and whether you will or won't actively like see the insides of them. Because aside from this journal introduction, I've been thinking about doing journal with me videos, because I've been really liking those. So potentially with those I can, you know, film 30 minutes of me just like doing a setup in any one of my journals, and just like chatting with you about whatever I feel like, I suppose, because I really like those videos when I watch Meg and Rhiannon do them. And I've recently subscribed to a new channel called Pom Palette, who makes really cute videos, really like aesthetic ones with her Hobonichi, and I've been really like enjoying her videos because she's newer onto YouTube, and I think that she's really calming. I really like the content that she does. So I will probably link both of them in the description because they're kind of like the main inspirations for me at the moment. So you may see some similarities in the way that I kind of do stuff or kind of lay out these videos. And then Mochi Bujo is kind of the main inspiration for my reading journal. And I will, like I said, I'll talk about that in a minute. So first I wanted to start out with my life journals, which is currently these two. So this was my first journal ever, as you can tell by the way that I have not laid out the stickers on it particularly nicely. I got this in July of 2020, and these green tabs that are in the side are all of the months that I've kind of done in them. And I've gone through several phases with this journal. I'm about 3 or 4 pages from the end of it, and yeah, I'm nearly to the end of this journal, which is my first. It's a Leuchtturm 1917 in the colour lemon, lemon or yellow. But I have just kind of decorated the front of it with random stickers that I had. But in this one, I've tried out multiple things. At the beginning, I mostly did like thoughts. I'm not going to show too much. I'm just going to find a spread that I can actually share. I mostly did like thoughts and things and just like feelings. But then for a while during 2021, I started doing like more bullet journal-esque stuff. So I was like tracking my sleep and having goals and stuff and tracking the words that I wrote and like the songs that I was listening to a lot. And I only kind of did that for 2021 and only partially 2021 because I found kind of sorting them out was exhausting. Trying to remember to set up like all of my monthlies was just not something that was viable for me. So in 2022 and 2023, I pretty much flipped back to just doing like thoughts and like my feelings and stuff with the odd like sticker or washi tape just on the page to decorate it. And like I said, I'm on the last like set of pages. I have very few left, and then this will go on a shelf and she will be immortalized as a journal that lasted me 3 years during some of probably the hardest 3 years of my life, probably. Just she got me through it, to be honest, and I am very thankful that this is kind of the journal that I had that started all of this. But yeah, that's her. And obviously I'm not at the end of the year yet. So what am I going to do when I fill this journal up? Well, that's what this one is for. So this is my Scribble and Dot B notebook. Pretty like standard stuff. It's also got tabs in it for very specific reasons. And I mostly used this as an academic diary for my final year, and that lasted until January, when I had a pretty rough time and it was just not viable for me to maintain setting up the more like bullet journal-y spreads that I was doing. So, you know, I did this sort of stuff and actually kind of did normal bullet journal things, but again, was not viable. It got exhausting, and that's why bullet journaling is not particularly for me, but artistic journaling is kind of the general consensus that I've come up with. But basically in here we've got blue tabs for months, we've got pink tabs for my therapy notes when I was doing CBT, and then we've got purple for just random brain dump things that I wanted to remember. Like I have some YouTube stuff in there and some timing stuff in there. But otherwise, a vast majority of this journal is like completely empty, pretty much. Like I have like this much left. So I decided that instead of kind of leaving this to waste away, as soon as I finished this one, I can move into this Scribble and Dot journal. And finish this and finish the year in it. So those are my life journals. And you might be wondering, oh, what are you doing in 2024? I am jumping on a bit of a bandwagon, and I did buy a Hobonichi cousin for 2024. I talked a bit about this in my last reading vlog about deciding whether I wanted one or not, and I have just been watching a lot of Hobonichi content from like the creators that I really like, that I just kind of decided to take a swing and go for it because it's got a lot of what I think I need. Anybody who's watched a lot of journaling content, I think, knows what's in a Hobonichi cousin, but it's got a lot of like, it's got these monthly spreads which are good for me to like have an overview of my month or even just to backfill. And then I've kind of already preemptively decided that like my weeklies are going to be for time blocking, so marking out when I'm at work and kind of being able to visually see how much free time I actually have to be able to do things like reading and writing and filming YouTube content, pretty much. And then obviously the dailies are going to be for what I have been using this journal for and just writing my thoughts and how my days have gone. Or I'm deciding whether or not I want to commonplace in here. I don't think I will, just because I want this to maintain as like a life thing, and like for me to be able to kind of open up to any page and it be just even just a short reflection or just an artsy thing that I wanted to do. But that's kind of my aim for these pages. On the front I just have this little pocket for a Polaroid, like little mini Instax, and just in here is a placeholder. It's just a mood board I made for something that I was writing, and it's just in there to fill up the room, I suppose. So yeah, this is what I'm going to be working in 2024, and I might share the odd week or monthly in there. If I'm not feeling particularly personal in a month, I might show the odd daily, or I might show I might do a journal with me in here. It really depends on kind of how I'm feeling and what I'm writing about, because I am a particularly private person when it comes to my personal life, and that's kind of just what this is for. So you'll see this around, you just might not necessarily see in it all the time, in the same way that I have shown me writing in here, but not actively what I have written in there. And those are my life journals. So yeah, this one will be shelved eventually, so will this one, and then this one will, hopefully, as long as I don't get bored, last me the whole of next year. So I will pop those away. And then we get onto the fun thing, which is my media journals. So all of these journals are from Notebook Therapy. This is the Kanoki, I think, craft paper journal. I'm not sure if you can get any of these anymore, but if you can, I will link them in the description. But yeah, this is the craft paper one, and this is my reading journal, and it has been for the last couple of years, I think. This is the Nara journal. It's got a cute little deer on the front. This is my game journal, which I have recently gotten back into. As we can tell, I've not done too much in it, but as I've mentioned, I've kind of gotten a bit more free time with my job, and I've started kind of doing stuff in here again. And then this one I'm not going to show too much, but I did want to mention that I had it on the off chance that it appears or I do any writing in it. But this is my fanfiction journal. So for those of you who are new to my channel and aren't used to me being particularly open about that aspect of my life, I do write fanfiction, and I kind of track all of my projects in here, and kind of yeah that I will talk about that one first because it's very like short and simple. I can't remember what this journal is called. I got it years ago now, but it's got these cute little rose gold sprayed edges, and it's like a pretty standard like vegan leather sort of design. But yeah, this is my fanfiction journal, and in it I pretty much track everything that I write. I'm not going to show it because it's got all the titles, and I at least would like to be relatively vague about what I write. But generally speaking, this is kind of like the layout that I go for. I have like a main page for like the actual kind of like statistics of the piece in terms of like chapters, words, sort of main relationships. I have a few like songs. I print out pictures of the mood boards that I make and put them in here, and then I have those pages for either favorite quotes that I've written myself, like paragraphs that I'm like really proud of, comments that make me smile, or like parts of comments that make me really happy and really pleased with what I've written, and then my own thoughts. When I've finished a piece, I will be like coming in here to kind of write my final thoughts on it. Though that will probably also be something that goes into my life journals, just because it is kind of a massive aspect of me and who I am. But I kind of wanted a special place for all of them to go, so that way when all of my projects are kind of finished, I can flip through and kind of see all of them and kind of the progression of them. But that's that journal. That's kind of like, it's an odd one. This is a very personal to me kind of journal. I don't see very many people doing fanfiction based journals, but that's just because I do a lot with it. And then we'll go on to my gaming journal. So this was something that I did start a couple of years ago, and I didn't get very far. The first, like, this is like the title page. I did a lot of like Uncharted bits. As we can see, I've not done too much in it, but the general theme was kind of like monochrome and like just Uncharted characters, because it's my favorite game and I love them to pieces. But yeah, I kind of I made this and then I hit a rut with my journaling, so, and my gaming, to be honest. So I didn't end up kind of coming back to fill it in. I did do some Stardew Valley stuff. I was tracking like the animals that I have and sort of the naming conventions, my spaces so I didn't overbuy crops, how much things were and what I needed so I didn't have to keep running back to houses and stuff. And then Sebastian was the person that I married on that farm that I made, and I tracked kind of like schedules so I could always find him when I needed him, like likes and dislikes and stuff like that, and that was kind of this. And then I pretty much didn't use it for about a year and a half, but recently, again, because I have so much more free time, I have been doing a bit more, and we're still going. I did write a lot for the Stardew Valley thing, and then I played Oxenfree for the first time last September, and I'm really proud of this title. I spent way too long trying to get it right, and I also really like this little triangle portal thing. Anybody who's played Oxenfree kind of knows what I'm trying to mimic there, but I wrote down the ending that I got because it's a multiple ending game. I wrote down when I played it and my favorite characters just because I had a bit of empty space there. I kind of just used a mix of things that I had, and yeah, I think like my favorite part of this spread is the title, because I did just spend so long trying to perfect it, and then kind of after that, more recently, as if you've been watching my reading vlogs, you'll have seen I started playing Uncharted again, and as I've mentioned, Uncharted is my favourite game. And I've been replaying the series on Crushing, and I'm currently on Uncharted 2, which is Among Thieves, and one of my favourites of the four and a half, if you count Lost Legacy. I do. But yeah, Uncharted 2 is my favourite, but this is my spread for Drake's Fortune. I really like it. I kind of like the colour scheme that I got going, and kind of the mixed use of like coloured pens for my stamps and stuff. And yeah, I just kind of like how this one turned out. Again, tracking when I played it, just because I had a bit of empty space there. And kind of just doing a little bit of decoration. And then the quote from the start of the game, and I'll be doing that for all of them because all of the Uncharted games start with a quote from the pirate that we're following, or adventurer or whatever that we're following in the game. And yeah, I love Uncharted, and obviously pretty much empty space, and I'm going to be filling that with more games that I play. And this one will most likely make a few appearances in any Journal With Me videos, or just, you know, I will do a flip through when this is all full, because I think it will just look nice in the end, to be honest. And then we have the main girly that shows up a lot. This is my reading journal. I have been using it since, that's the title page, I've been using it since 2021, I think, or 2022. I think 2022. Probably, but there's, you know, the first sort of set of pages, and then we get into kind of like my 2023 stuff, which I will be doing a full flip through of this journal, of the 2023 spreads at least, not necessarily the pre ones, because I'm not particularly proud of the spreads in sort of the 2022 half of it. Like, they're just not like the cleanest, and they're not necessarily my favourite. I do like my Love Hypothesis spread, but otherwise I'm not particularly like pleased with too many of them. But obviously we're in October right now, and I will be kind of showing the spreads that I make in here in my November reset. So if you want to see that, wait for that. That should go up next week. But yeah, I don't see myself finishing this journal this year. I'm pretty much just kind of trying to get to the end of this year and then switching out. But basically this is, you know, typical reading journal stuff, kind of tracking days that I read and like the books that I read. And I kind of do more artistic spreads. This is definitely one of my favorites, and it's like the first artistic spread that I did in the year, for Sorcery of Thorns. And I kind of mix and match, and I'm still figuring out how to kind of compose things properly, and there are like some empty pages just because of the empty kind of ruts that I got into with it. So yeah, that's that's my reading journal, and I will reveal in this video what journal I'm going into in 2024 since I showed my Hobonichi. But my next reading journal is going to be this one, which is the Midsummer Night's Dream Notebook Therapy, like travel size notebook. I've never used a travel size notebook before, so I'm kind of really interested to see kind of the challenge it poses me to kind of like not necessarily write as much as I do, or it giving me kind of more space to just do like less, I think, and not feel like I have so much space to overfill. And I might find that I like it, I might find that I hate it, but my plan is to use this for all of 2024 unless I get to the end of it before the end of 2024. And yeah, this is just kind of a normal white paper kind of one. I've already done my grid spacing in the back to figure out what I'm working with, but otherwise I've not done that yet. I will film a flip through when I set it up, but like I said, I'm not likely to film actually setting it up unless I feel like I want to do like a journal with me of it, or at least part of it. But yeah, so transferring out of this into this, quite the size difference, to be fair, because normally I work in A5 journals. That's just the size that I'm used to. But yeah, those are kind of like all of my media journals. I have been thinking, because I did have a movie journal for a while, but I found that I track movies and TV shows a lot better on my Notion, because I do also use Notion in like conjuncture with all of my journals, just because I find it easier to kind of track base statistical things in there to potentially put in my journal if I feel like it. Otherwise, these are very much like artistic things for me. I don't do any of like my life journaling on Notion. I don't want to. I prefer a much like more analog thing with it. But everything else, especially like my my fan fiction, I have whole templates of that, and like the way that I work, and potentially I could do a Notion tour if I was comfortable or if that was wanted, because I also like track my YouTube on there as well, for my own kind of sanity. I'm very much a planner kind of person. I love planning, but pretty much with these I've been thinking about I'm going to see how using this journal goes, and obviously I'm going to want to fill my game journal up before I kind of move out. But the potential is, if I manage to fill this up in the next like year and I fill this up in 2024, then I'll keep them separate. Otherwise, if I find that both of them kind of have a lot of empty space left, I will probably migrate both of them into one journal and just have one big media journal to track games, movies, music, though my music I'm probably going to track in my life journal with like albums and stuff, but stuff like that. And there's potential for like these to like combine into one big kind of hobbies journal, depending on if I manage to like fill them up. Because if I don't, I will mix them. If I do, then I might keep them separate. But we'll see. That's very much like an up in the air kind of choice at the moment. But I do have a couple of spare journals that I wanted to muse about. But these are the two empty journals that I have. This is the Golden Hour Notebook Therapy journal. It's in the original size, so it's a little bit smaller than my usual like A5 size, and I got this in the Golden Hour journal set, so I got a stamp and some washi tapes with it, hence why it's like the original size, because normally I do just go for A5, but it's, you know, your typical little white paper one. This is the Ichigo notebook therapy journal. Again, like pink leather. It's got a little strawberry on the side, and this cute little like stenciling. But this one I've had for a little bit because the collection came out and I really, really wanted this journal, so I got it so I could hoard it. But yeah, I've been thinking about using one of these journals to potentially try commonplacing. I've never done it before, at least not like in a conscious sense. So I've probably done a lot of commonplacing. In fact, I know I have, but I just don't necessarily like do it in one place. So I'm not sure if I will or if I'll like keep it to myself. Because I definitely like, I bookmark a lot of stuff on my Notion when I'm like researching for things that I'm writing or just in general. So I've never had like one concentrated place for everything, but I've kind of been thinking about potentially having like this one be a commonplace journal for me to collect things that I maybe like see or think about to then put into my Notion later. Maybe. This one I'm thinking of hoarding until I need another either game or just general media journal, because I just like it and I'd like it to be for one of my hobbies more than anything. But yeah, that's kind of these two spares. Just to, you know, show how many journals I just have for no reason. But yeah, so these are going to be the journals that get me through 2024, kind of. And then we just have all of my 2023 journals just here. Sorry that was kind of, I feel like I've definitely like breezed through that. I've never kind of had to talk about my journals before, so I don't know how to do it in like a normal person way. But yeah, I suppose if you have any questions about my journaling itself, or like the processes that I do, or the things that I use, or just anything related to journaling, drop it in the comments and I might bank them to answer in like a journal with me video. If you are a returning subscriber, do let me know if you would like those journaling videos, and if you are a new subscriber or a new viewer who's coming because they really like journals, let me know the kind of journaling stuff that you like, and I can see what works. I think I'm very much like a try different things and see what sticks kind of person. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, like and subscribe, I guess, if you want. You can stick around if you like. Like I said, leave a comment if you have any questions or just want to, you know, talk. I'm sorry I didn't show the insides of more of my journals. I don't have too much to share because, like I said, it is definitely a hobby that I've kind of ebbed and flowed with in terms of like the artistic stuff. But you might see more if I get brave and want to sit for half an hour and film a journal with me, either with or without music. I suppose it can kind of entirely depends on what people would like to see from journal with me videos, but I'm definitely going to talk more about kind of channel plans and channel ideas in my November reset next week. So I suppose be on the lookout for that if you want to put your 2 cents in for what you want to see from me in the rest of this year and next year. So yeah, I will see you in the next video, whatever that may be, even though I just told you. But yeah, I will see you then, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye. Which way do I wave?